Hi, Daniel D here again, ventriloquist, and we're getting into our video series about how to be a ventriloquist. Why anybody wants to be, I'll never know. Anyway, if you do, you've come to the right place. And as I said in the last video, it's time now to think about how to make those letter sounds. Well, I'm English, so I'm going to go through the English alphabet. I have done ventriloquism actually in other languages. I've done a bit in German, a bit in Hungarian, yeah. But I'm not going to focus on those today because essentially, actually, as far as I can see, and somebody will let me know that this is totally wrong, but the problems are the same in whatever language. You've got to keep your lips still, you've got to allow sound out, and you've got to be able to pronounce those letters that are difficult to pronounce without moving your lips. Well, in the alphabet, a lot of letters are easy to pronounce whether you're moving your lips or not. And if you go through the alphabet, which, shall we do that? Yeah, let's do that. So we start with A, which is A, and because the letters are how you pronounce them, not the names of the letters. So A, it's very easy to pronounce, you don't need to move your lips for that. B, B is very difficult because it uses your lips, it's a plosive sound. K just uses your tongue in the back of your mouth. D, the same, uses your tongue in the front of the mouth, but it doesn't involve any lip movement. E, easy again. F, the F sound, uses your lips, and I think that's one of the harder sounds because you've got to find a way of pushing air through your mouth, but we'll come back to that to make that sound. Where have we got to? F. It would have helped if I'd learnt the alphabet, really, wouldn't it? G, that's easy because again you're using the tongue further back in your mouth. What comes after J? Hadley, did you learn the alphabet? He's down there at the moment, sleeping. Oh, what a lot of help he is. E, F, G, H, H. That's a very easy sound to say without using your lips. I, the I sound. I is very easy to say without using your lips. H, I, J. Again, uses the tongue close to the front of the mouth. H, I, J, K, same thing, using your tongue in your mouth, not using your lips. K, L, M. Now there's a tricky one because that uses the lips. M. And N is easy to say. O, easy to say. Although you've got to remember not to form your lips into an O sound, O shape. P, O, that uses the lips. P, N, O, P, Q, easy. R, S, T, all easy. U. U's an interesting one because sometimes it's pronounced U, which does use some lip movement, and sometimes it's pronounced which doesn't really use any lip movement. U, V, that's like F, isn't it? It uses the lips again, so that's a tricky one. F, V. The W. Now, W is one of the hardest sounds to make clearly, and the reason for that is because you move your lips to form the sound. When you say W, you're moving your lips quite a lot. W. So we'll talk about that in a little while. W, X, well that's just a that usually comes in the middle of words, so that's very easy to say. It's just a ks sound. Ks. Y, that's at the beginning of words, but it doesn't really use any lip movements. And Z or Z is again no lip movement. So there's only a few letters in there that are a bit tricky. So we'll have a look at those now. The plosive sounds, the P and the B, V and F are slightly different. Let's look at B and P. So how on earth do you use B words, or the letter B in a word, or the letter P in a word? I'm sorry to sound like a 4-year-old when I say that. It's just that that's the sound that we want to make. So let's have a think. I remember reading a book about ventriloquism when I was probably about 13, 14, and it had this sentence that talked about a ball bouncing. Somebody was bouncing a ball, and it said if you practice that, that's a really good way of developing the B sound. And I thought, well, it is if you know how to do it. And actually, over the years, I've actually used that quite a lot to develop the B sound and the P sound. p and a b are essentially the same letter, but the p is not using the vocal cords, and the b does use the vocal cords to create a sound. I'm sure those linguists out there will tell me that that's not what they're called at all. They've got some fancy name, probably in Latin, but for the purposes of this video, let's keep it simple, because we like simple, don't we, Hadley? Oh yeah. Now, the word ventriloquism is quite interesting, and I don't know if anybody knows where that word actually comes from, but it means to speak from the belly, to speak from the belly. That's right, isn't it, Hadley? Oh yeah, it makes sense as well. Why do you say that? Well, yeah, that means that sound comes out of your belly, right? That's exactly right, Hadley, yeah. I know, it's true as well. Well, yeah, I know, well, but what do you mean? Well, every time you talk, you make me feel sick. I tell you what, you don't need to go anywhere else to be insulted when you've got a puppet like Hadley. Puppets, I hate puppets. All right, just calm down. You can come out later. So the b and the p sound. Now, how do we do this? Usually when you're reading books about this, there's a nice handy diagram about where your tongue is in your mouth in relation to your teeth. But I haven't got diagrams because I'm here. You've got me. Ha! Why do you need a diagram? Yeah, people are saying, quick, get a diagram off the internet. So, the b and the p sounds, these are produced using your tongue in a cunning way. You place your tongue behind your teeth. I'll just work out how to do it now. Hang on a minute. Let's think of a word. Oh yeah, that sentence. The ball bounced. Let's have a think about that. How would we say that? That's easy to do. Doll, the ball sound, the b sound. Your tongue just touches your teeth. And actually, I find that it touches both my top and bottom teeth. The doll. Did you see what I did there? It's hard to open my mouth to show you very clearly, and this is one of the places where you will develop maybe a slightly different way to doing it than I do it. But when I do it, my tongue, the tip of my tongue touches the top teeth and the bottom teeth at the same time. Doll. And in fact, what I find is that it also rolls up to the top of my mouth slightly. Now, you also have to remember, as we said in an earlier video, that we're creating an illusion. We're not speaking perfectly, and the illusion works because as people, when we listen to people speaking, they don't always speak clearly. They make mistakes, but what we do as listeners is our brain converts what we hear into recognisable sounds, recognisable words. And that's why children, if you have children, you'll know, or you mix with children, for any reason at all, you'll know that they say the strangest things because they make sense of the words that they hear. My daughter, she won't thank me for saying this, she's only 7. But when she was younger, she was sitting at the kitchen table and she said, "Oh, Daddy, that's a mingalo." And I said, what do you mean, a mingalo? And she got quite frustrated with me because she knew exactly what she was talking about. And I said, "Can you show me what you mean?" And she picked up her water cup, her drinking cup, and on the side of it was a picture of a flamingo. But she had heard the word flamingo lots of times, but to her, the sound that she heard was mingalo. So that's what we still call flamingos in our house now. Mingalos. So if you want to introduce that into your speech, feel free. So we make sense of the sounds we hear, so don't worry about being perfect. Again, those of you who have learnt foreign languages, the key to learning a foreign language is not just learning all the technicalities, that'll come in time, but it's having the confidence to practice what you know now. My sister lives in France, and when she was at school, to be honest, she wasn't the most academic person, and she certainly didn't learn to speak French, not fluently anyway. Now it's embarrassing to speak to her in France because she's totally fluent. She's like a local. I'm sure they would say she has an English accent, but she's totally fluent. Why? because she stepped out of her comfort zone, put herself in a position where she was practicing the little she knew, and bit by bit that was built on until she's now fluent. So that's what we're talking about here. If you like, we can think about ventriloquism as learning a foreign language. You're learning a different way of speaking, and I want you to have enough confidence to go out and practice that skill. And as you do so, you'll develop more skills. As I said in an earlier video, there's certain letter combinations that I find difficult to say, always have found difficult to say. So I developed other ways of doing that until I was comfortable with a way of saying those sounds myself. And that's exactly what will happen to you. And then you develop that fluency. Let's get back to those two letters. Are we putting this off or something? So we were talking about b. So we move our tongue to the back, to the just behind our upper and lower teeth, like this. Can you see that? And that, as we're speaking, remember when we speak, we don't just say isolated letters. We don't go around saying b, b. Well, you might. I personally, I don't. What we do is we form words, and even if we don't say them clearly, as we've just noted, the person that's listening makes sense of things. Occasionally somebody will say things. I did this the other day. Somebody said something to me and I didn't hear them, so they said it again, still didn't understand them, and I had to ask them about 4 times. They didn't feel stupid, I did. But we're creating an illusion. So let's practice that. Duh, 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 duh. Then let's add it to a word. What we're doing as well is we're creating an illusion in our own mind, so that when I say duh, I hear a b sound in my own mind. And my rule of thumb is if I feel like I'm saying b when I'm really saying duh, my audience will, my listener will. So convince yourself and you've convinced your audience. So duh. Let's add it to a word. I mentioned ball earlier. Doll, doll, doll. I like your doll. Can you dance your doll? My lips didn't move. Well, not very much. Did they move a little bit? Don't know. If I'm using a puppet, you're focusing on him, so don't worry. But you become more and more comfortable with that shape in your mouth. You train, like in lots of sports and activities, you're training a new muscle memory. So your voice gets used to making that shape. Instead of a b, you make the shape duh. Duh. And I said 2 words, didn't I? Doll dance. Bouncing doll. In fact, it was a blue bouncing ball. The blue bouncing doll. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so now we've got that first letter, b. So now we can say a and the b. A, d. K, d, e, th. Right, we'll get onto the f and the v in a little while. The other letter associated with the b is the p sound. Now, p, exactly the same. P, b, b, p. Very similar sound. As I said earlier, one has vocalization, one is just using the air passing through your lips. So, will this work then? We've already discussed that if we put our tongue, just touch the back of our top teeth and bottom teeth at the same time, maybe roll it slightly to the top of your mouth, duh, you get a b sound. Does this work with a p sound? And let's have a go. T, t, t. Oh, it does. My mouth is in exactly the same position as far as I can tell. I can't see my own mouth, and the audience very rarely looks at me and looks at my mouth. I have been in situations actually when people have come up to me after a show, and I find this very flattering and very encouraging when children do it particularly. They've come up to me after a show and went, I liked that. I couldn't see your mouth moving. And I think that's lovely because they're not even supposed to understand that when they're little. But if somebody's saying that to you, they're obviously focusing on what you're doing. And of course my response is, well, that's, of course you couldn't, because Hadley was talking. So again, what I'm saying is that the more comfortable you are with making the sounds, the less you'll notice, the less you'll feel awkward, and the more convinced your audience will be. So let's have a go at a p word. Give me a p word. An easy one. I nearly said pilchard. That's not an easy. Why would I say pilchard? We've had ball. I don't want to say Paul. That sounds a bit morbid, but it's a name. Is there anybody out there called Paul? I've got a really good ventriloquist friend called Paul. Hi, Paul. So, ball, doll, and Paul. Tall. Doll, tall. Does it work? Did you see my lips moving? I don't know. But what I'm doing is making the sound so that my puppet can say that. In fact, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just introduce Hadley. Now, I did say to you, didn't I, that practice in front of the mirror is important, really important. Get comfortable with how your mouth's working and the sounds you're making before you move on to using a puppet character. I'm going to let you into a secret. I've done that before. So let's introduce Hadley. Come on, Hadley. Hey, what are you doing? Hey. Oh, dear me. Why did you wake me up like that? Well, I just wanted to introduce you, Hadley. Oh, hello. Hello. What are you doing? I can't hear you. No, it's because they're behind the camera, you see. No, they're not. All right, Hadley, don't worry about that. Right, Hadley, what I was doing, is I'm explaining how you pronounce certain letters, right, without moving your mouth. Why would you want to do that? Don't worry about it. What I'm gonna do? Oh, I know. Yeah, tranquillism. No, it's called ventriloquism. Tranquillism. Yeah, ventriloquism. We'll just ignore that and move on because otherwise it will go on for ages. Ventriloquism. Yeah, I know. So Hadley, I've been showing everybody how to say the letters p, t, and b. D. Easy, isn't it? Without moving your mouth. It's still easy. D, t. See, I told you. It makes it sound hard, but it's not. Okay. Yeah, all right, Hadley. D, t. Oh no, sorry. D, t. Yes, fine. So Hadley, what I'm explaining to people is that you position your tongue, right, behind your teeth, right. No wonder I can't do it. Look. No teeth, no tongue. You're so cruel to me. No teeth and no tongue. Oh, I don't know. Hadley, don't worry about you. You're interrupting, really. I just want to practice this. Okay. So, we say... Hadley, can you say ball? Of course I can, yeah. Go on then. Ball. Right. And can you say Paul? Is he here? Paul, are you here? No, he's not here. Well, he might be out there. No, I just want you to say the word to demonstrate. Tall. Doll and tall. Yeah, that's it. Doll and tall. Doll and tall. Doll had a tall. Oh no, tall had a doll. And the doll was, what colour was it? It was blue. The doll was blue. Yeah, that's it. The tall had a blue doll and he danced it. Yeah, that's it. It's amazing, isn't it? What's amazing? How I know what you were talking about? Well, I'm guessing, Hadley, that you were listening to our conversation. No. It's like an inside your head. Oh, inside your head. All right. Dear me. Anyway, so that gives you an idea about how to say those letters, ball and Paul. Well, those aren't letters, are they? No, you're a bit daft, you aren't you? You don't know what you're talking about. Well, to be honest, it's because you interrupt me all the time. I don't know where I am. I don't know where you are either. I don't know where I am, though, either. No, it's difficult for me, you know. Why is that, Hadley? Are you a bit confused? Yeah, I am. Why are you confused? It's my brain, you see. What's wrong with your brain? It's made of sponge. Sponge. Do you like the way I say sponge? Yes, I do. Yes, it's very nice. Go on, you say it then. You can't say it, can you? Sponge. Yeah, that's it. Sponge. I'm sorry about this. This is the trouble when you work with puppets. They go a bit mad. So Hadley, we're going to move on now, finish this video, and we're going to come back in a little while with the next couple of letters. Go away and practice in front of the mirror. I'm watching you. Yeah, we're watching. I am. I'm watching you. Hadley, stop it.